Good afternoon guys and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Dave's warm-up for the season. So you'll see by the title we are talking on course, we are talking about how Dave can score better because wants to get to single figures this year.
I'd love to, Chris, I would love to.
We've got some new clubs for Dave which we're out here. This is the first real course session we've done with them, so straight away he's missed it a few, which is more pilot error. But scoring 1 over, which is what we'd expect so far with Dave's handicap. So with stroke index 1, he did get a bogey on there last week. If you haven't seen that, that's on last Wednesday. We're out here now, we've got the GC quad set up as you will see. Dave's also testing the Paradigm against the Titleist TSR1. So we're getting some numbers out here on the golf course. Then we'll be going in on the range and talking through some more numbers and seeing which one comes out on top. Because these are the leading drivers that Dave has tested so far. We've also got two other drivers we tested today. We've got the Tour Edge driver and a PXG driver because Dave just needs a new driver now. We've got irons, but let's get into it. So 1 over, par 4 here, the third hole at Waterfront. We are 322 yards off these yellow tees. It's not the easiest of driving holes, but Dave's aiming down the middle now. A lot more confidence with these fade bias drivers and lighter shafts to get it down there. And that again is a good drive. Drawing a little bit.
Yep, it's fine.
Just down that left hand side, but again a good launch.
Yeah.
A little bit out of balance. Let's
have
a look at the numbers because that's what everybody wants to know, is how far has that one gone. So again, a 163 carry, spin a little bit low, so it was a little bit toe struck there.
Yeah.
So not quite the shot that we wanted to see. Again from Dave, 161 carry last week, 163 there, and it's showing on the range it's different, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So when we've not got a target and we've not got a tight hole like this one here on the third, it doesn't always go, but we'll certainly see with the GC quad how it stands up against the TSR1, which is in there somewhere. So we're down here, we've got 115 yards, so that drive, a prime example, it's getting close to the season, it has rained but it's still running a little bit further. It's ran to around about 210 yards, so landed at 160, ran out to 210. You can see that's still very forgiving, as we know from the Paradigm driver. Not Dave's best carry, not his best shot, but that's something you need to take into account when it's coming back to the season, is we're going to get a little bit more run. So is that going to put you into trouble on your golf course if you've got bunkers at certain distances which have been fine to hit driver to in the winter? Might not be the club into the summer, which will be interesting when we go to Garforth with Dave and play off the white. So 116 if we're being precise. Dave's got his 9 iron out here.
Yep.
Interesting, this is the first real shot out of the thicker rough. Let's see how these Tacomos fare through this kind of grass. That's a great launching shot, Dave. So launched nice and high, landed again just short of the flag, and if I zoom in...
I'll tell you what, that stopped quicker than you'd think out at rough, Chris.
Stopped very quick out of the rough. So the higher launching shots there with Dave's previous clubs, that would probably have come in at half the height and ran through the back, which is what we saw all last season when we came out on the golf course. So let's see if we can roll that in. So Dave's gone through his green reading process there. He's got this just outside the left. So again, around about a cup, but it's all about pace here. As we're getting out here on the golf course, and if you're playing different courses with the seniors, with your friends, with anyone, you need to get used to the green. So going on the putting green beforehand is essential to start to get your pace. Dave has had a great putt there.
Get in.
A great 3 there, so played nice and easy. Not Dave's best drive, and this is where we're trying to show on Dave's course management.
I'm here.
That we don't have to hit perfect golf shots. So there, he's not hit a perfect drive because it's now a little bit firmer. We've got enough run, and then he's been able to hit a nice solid 9 iron in here. He didn't try and go, oh, my pitching wedge might go a bit further now with my new shiny clubs,
but they're going a lot higher, so they are stopping.
But Dave is benefiting from that even into the season, especially when you think if you get firm greens at your golf course, if Dave's coming in with a better landing angle, it's going to land and stop quicker than if it's on a firm green and it bounces and then it's going to roll through. So this is where making sure you've got the correct setup, you're getting the correct launch. It's no good getting strong irons with less loft on them, with heavier or lighter shafts. They come out this high, and we can never get them to stop. You might
No.
get a little bit more distance and a little bit more run. We did see that with Dave's 4-iron last time, and that's where we're going to discuss in coming weeks that, yes, Dave's 4-iron went as far as his hybrid, but it didn't carry as far.
No.
So it might be a time and a place. It might be in the summer, he might use that off some
Or if
tee
we're
boxes.
playing at coast or...
Links courses, which we are going to do a Links series, guys. Watch out for that in the summer. We've just planned it for July when the weather's not raining and windy, because nobody wants to play links golf when it's like that.
No.
But we can then think about Dave might put his hybrid in, and we're going to be out here next week putting that to a test on the par 3, which is around about 170 yards, which is perfect for Dave's 4-iron and for his hybrid. Which one is going to win? But let's get on to the hardest par 3 in Yorkshire.
Can hardly wait.
So Dave's 4th and final drive with the Paradigm. So far, good one on the first, 161 yards carry on the second, 163 yards carry on the third, and this hole, the par 3, is all about carry. It's up there. So again, didn't quite carry all the way up there. It's landed on the fringe and then it has scampered up a little bit. So let's see, interesting where that has got to. Again, 12 degrees of loft, but still launched a little bit low. That's more Dave's technique.
Yeah,
and
it's
again,
more me than this.
working on that left arm. Let's see the numbers. What have we got? We've got 186 yards carry there, so much more like Dave's numbers. A good spin rate, 2,000. We'd probably like that a little bit higher since it's now vanished as we've gone onto it. But we can then see that carry has just got him onto that fringe bit and ran it up. So close, not quite on the green. So we've just come up short there, and you can see it's tough hole. It's all the way uphill, so Dave's carried just onto the fringe and then it has ran up here. So again, still over 200 yards, not as much run this time because it is, like we say, uphill into a slope, and Dave's got a slope. We have got a bump and run here, Dave, or, well, that's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a bump and run with the pitching wedge. With the other set, I wouldn't have probably taken the pitching wedge, because when I hit it, it used to come out fairly low for a pitching wedge, and there'd be no stopping. I couldn't really gauge how far it was going to run.
So it came off a little bit fast, yeah.
Whereas I tried this at the weekend, and if anything, it was grabbing slightly. So, you know, you're getting a little bit of control with it.
Yeah, and with the weaker loft, so this pitching wedge is weaker than Dave's previous one, so we get that little bit more launch, which is going to help Dave get a little bit of grab, but also a little bit more control on his landing angle, which is good to hear. The iron covers are off. That's a great shot. So cool.
Pretty much like that, Chris.
Oh, that's it, Dave. So nice and consistent with, let's have a quick look before the head cover goes on, the new 101T pitching wedge. A fantastic shot there. You can see, again, a great shot from there with Dave. So it's all good with new golf clubs, new drivers, although Dave's not throwing the best with the drivers here. That's why he hasn't bought one yet. But it all comes down to short game. So Dave's certainly been annoying his friends with this part of the game, because they're saying that this is the area where he saved his shots. New irons on the last, we did get it well inside tour average, but that chip shot there is fantastic, and this part of the game is very important, guys. You'll have seen Dave's short game lesson, which will be on the channel shortly, and why and how he has improved this area of his game. And then with putting, just like on the last, holding a few more putts certainly lowers that score. So we're moving on to the 5th hole now. We are changing drivers. So Dave has put his putter away. He then realised we are now moving on to the TSR1. So far with the Paradigm, not performed the best.
No.
But we've still scored well. Dave's level par.
1 over.
Level par. 1 birdie, 1 bogey and 2 pars.
Forgotten about the bogey. Birdie.
So Dave's going to learn how to count before we get to the next tee, but very solid there, so that's what we'd expect. Well, we wouldn't expect, that's what we would hope for after 4 holes here. Not 4 of the easiest opening holes, especially with a stroke 1 index hole as the second. Dave bogeyed that, but then got up and down a couple of times, which is showing that short game is very important.
Yeah.
We're now going to test out the TSR1 on the closing holes. We've got 4 other driving holes, so we are going to use the GC quad, which is what this is on that I've got on my back. We're going to get the numbers with that, see how it compares, and then we're going to get back into the driving range and show you on another video how they stand up. obviously on the driving range when you go for a fitting, it's often different because you're not hitting to a target. There's not as much pressure as seeing trees, seeing a lost ball, especially if it's a Pro V1. You don't mind hitting a range ball 40 yards, right, because it's not your ball. So check out next week, we will have that driver review on the Paradigm versus TSR, and we'll also be playing the next 2 holes where we've got a par 5 and a par 3. We'll see you then.
See you soon.